Welcome to the Advisor Marketing Mastery Podcast with Mark Gaffney. This podcast is your front row seat to the proven frameworks, strategies, and the insights that have propelled thousands of financial professionals to the top of their field since 2003. The show starts right now.
Welcome to a very special edition of the Marketing Mastery Podcast. I've got Jerry Lanier from Leading Response with us today. Hey, this podcast is built for you, financial advisors who want more clients, more impact, and of course, more growth. We've got a lot of great stuff today, Jerry, and I can't wait to get into it with you. Listen, you're tired of the fluff, the guesswork, those cookie cutter marketing tactics that don't deliver. You're in the right place. We've got a very special message, special event. So this is where real advisors learn, and this special event we're going to talk about is, in my humble opinion, having done so many of these around the country with many an FMO, IMO, insurance company, this is the number one training event for financial advisors in terms of marketing that is available today. Okay, we're going to help you grow your calendar, grow your business with confidence. Let's dive in. All right, Jerry, it is a pleasure to have you with us today. You are the VP of Sales at Leading Response, and I have to go back a little bit, okay? How long have we known each other?
2008.
2008.
Yeah.
We've done a tremendous amount of work together. 2008. We both look the same then as we do now. 17 years, Jerry.
Without a doubt.
So I want to confidently tell everyone who's viewing this, and we're going to talk about this event, that this is absolutely 100% the number one seminar event. We're going to cover other things too, webinars, TV, so many great things that feed into that seminar funnel, if you will, okay, at this great event. By the way, it's the Leading Response Marketing Mastery Summit. It is going to be Wednesday, December 10th, Thursday, December 11th, Friday, December 12th. Wednesday night is the meet and greet. Thursday is an all day. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. And then Friday is the half day. Okay. We're going to be feeding people. All you have to do is get there. Okay. Fly in. We're going to have a block of hotel rooms. You're going to love it. Okay. I'm going to jump in right now. Jerry, you're going to open up the day. Okay. I'm doing intros, which I love to do, of course. And I'm very honored, by the way, that I am the special guest outside of Leading Response for this. And I have to back up even further. We've done these so many times, but COVID put the kibosh on it. So we've not done one of these since prior to COVID. So I'm super excited to get out there. All the advisors who attend, all the financial professionals who attend are like, dang, I wish I had done this years earlier. The data you're going to share is from, check this, 1 million events, 1 million events, and you're going to talk about the Seminar Success Playbook.
Yeah, more than 1 million events. And that covers dinner seminars, that covers educational workshops, webinars. It's all kinds of events. And Mark, we're really excited to bring the summit back. It's been too long.
Too long.
We've got to give some shout outs to George Villar for starting this whole concept 30 years ago.
Yeah.
The founder of RME, and he's so great and passionate, and we're really excited to bring that passion back to the industry in the form of education.
Jerry, everywhere I go, I bring up George Villar's name. Oh, George. They have a story. I did this with George. I went there with George. George helped me do this. Clearly, for you and me, I have to pay an homage. He is a unbelievable mentor of mine, mentor of yours. And I can't say enough great things about the legend, not the myth, the legend, George Villar.
Well, think of it this way. He's not only impacted our lives, he's impacted tens of thousands of advisors' lives. But then you look at seminars, 1 million seminars, and you think about all of the consumers that have been impacted by
millions.
It's crazy.
He is the single greatest force and knowledgeable person that has ever been in the financial event space for advisors. There is none other. Nobody holds a candle to him. And I had to get that out there because we both love George so much. Let's talk about the Seminar Success Playbook, okay? What types of things are you going to be talking about? And I say this from the standpoint, Jerry, of we want advisors there. Whether you've done seminars before, I kind of break them into three pieces. The people who've never done them, there are people that are kind of average, and then there are the masterful people. I don't care where you are in that spectrum. You are going to get the knowledge, the experience from us and the other people there on what to do to kill it at whatever type of event. College class, financial dinner, seminar, as I like to say. I don't care if you're doing Social Security at the local community center. At the end of the day, the concept is this, Jerry, and correct me if I'm wrong. It is one too many in a room, and appointments go on your book that night.
100%.
Do you know what the record is for me with all the clients I've ever had? Take a guess. One night.
In terms of appointments?
Appointments on the books that night.
85%.
No. I'm talking the number of appointments.
Oh,
I'll give you. The room held 64. There were 64 seats.
I'll go with 50.
27.
Oh.
27.
Too much credit.
You do. 27 appointments in one night. Think about that. Your book
lot.
just became full for the month plus, right? All right. I'm talking too much, Jerry. Tell me about the Seminar Success Playbook.
Well, first of all, we just talked about George. And one of the things that he brought to the industry and brought to Leading Response was tracking everything and collecting that response data and being marketers, not a mail house. So one of the things that we use is direct mail. We use social media. We use email as channels to reach consumers. And it's all about consumer behavior and understanding the audience that you want as a client and being able to market and engage them effectively. So we're going to start with psychology. We're going to look at data, and we're going to combine those two things, science and data, to have a predictable blueprint for success. And that's really what Seminar Success is all about, is giving you a framework. And there are 22 different things, dials, if you will, that if you modify or change, you can either increase or decrease your results. So we're going to be opening up the curtain and showing.
Yeah, and why wouldn't we take every one of those knobs to 10, or in this case, 11? These knobs go to 11. Because I think too many advisors aren't doing that. That's one of the reasons you need to come do this. Too many advisors are not doing, you know what I call it, data-driven best practices, right? They have some notions. They're based on gut instinct, and there's nothing wrong with that. You're an entrepreneur. You've got great gut instincts. But at the end of the day, I don't care if it's TV, radio, seminars, targeted direct mail, non-seminar, database management. There are data-driven best practices. And if you take a moment and you learn how to do it, and you implement and you execute and you track, what happens when you track? Then you're able to innovate, right? And get great results. And I often say this, Jerry, with the same budget.
I'll even go a step further, though. Tracking is important, but you need to back up a little bit and actually have a plan. Mark, you and I have worked with thousands of
Huge
advisors,
believer.
and it is shocking.
Yeah.
How many go into a calendar year, go into a new year without any direction? They're just shooting from the hip. They're picking out the new shiny object going, hey, I think this will work. And then they dump money into it, and they sometimes get results and sometimes they don't. And if they would just have a predictable plan and stick to it, they would have a guide to track those metrics against to see if they're doing good or not.
So I joke with advisors and I say, what do you do all day long? You develop plans for your clients so that they know every month of every year how much they're getting for the rest of their natural lives and all the other pieces that go in there. It's a plan, right?
And then they don't do it.
And then they don't have a plan. They're the welder with a wooden spoon. They're the cobbler with a hole in their shoes. So it all starts with the plan, Jerry. You're exactly right. No plan, no GPS, no blueprint, no, guide to bring them to that goal. And you know what I want to talk about here for a moment? The shiny penny. 3 decades of doing seminars. Oh, well, there's this new shiny penny. It's the digital bing, bing, bong.
It's AI right now.
It's AI, bing, 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 boom. Yeah. And so many people are like chasing the shiny penny. So here's what I tell them. Again, this is based on data. Fine. Go do it. However, 80% of your marketing budget goes to what I refer to as bread and butter marketing. What is bread and butter marketing? It is tried and true. This works every year without fail. I love R&D because some folks are going to hit it with a shiny new penny, right? I don't rule that out. Maybe some will. 20% max in your R&D money.
It's an interesting analogy to look at a financial plan and a marketing plan, there are a lot of similarities. So we do have advisors that offer alternative investments. And one of the rules is you can't put too much of a client's assets in a risky investment. And if advisors would just take that approach with new products or new marketing strategies and not dump their whole marketing budget in, just put 10% in and see how it performs.
But Jerry, there's this hot stock and I want to put 100% of my money in it.
Until it crashes.
Yep. So, I find this funny, and I'm going to move on from that because and we've had multiple conversations. What is the hot new thing this year that people are like flocking to? And let's be honest, a lot of them come with very sexy pitches, like, oh, that looks like it has to work. But at the end of the day, the number one way, it is undisputed, period, end of story. The number one way financial advisors create production and revenue is through live events. I don't care. College classes, dinner seminar, Social Security seminar at the local community center. Live events. Number one, every year, year after year after year after year. And I'll tell you, it's not just us saying it, but there's this great little company called Track That Advisor, which, by the way, I highly recommend. Their data is second to none around the country of bigger advisors. The number one way in there that revenue and production is created is through live events. It's a period, end of story. Third party saying the same thing. So I tell advisors, and you the same. If you're good at it and you're making money, Jerry, why aren't they doing more? Or why aren't they getting into it?
They've heard a lot of stigma about seminars, especially dinners, you get plate liquors and saturation. They hear all the things that are negative about it. And the reality is a lot of those are propagated by the top producer that doesn't want you to do dinner seminars.
How funny. It's a conspiracy, Jerry.
I had
it's a conspiracy.
I had an advisor here in Tampa that was producing more than $60 million a year. And he would go out and say, hey, yes, summer seminars don't work. And yet he would put campaigns in for summer seminars because he didn't want the competition to be in his marketplace.
That's so dang funny. I have to talk about plate liquors for a moment because I love this. Okay. I love them. But I don't call them plate liquors, Sherry. What do I call them? Hollywood extras. I can't have a great movie without my room being filled. They're Hollywood extras. Because listen, if you get down to the data, every single event that you do, you're going to get 1 to 2, maybe 2+, very rarely is it 3 on a consistent basis from your seminar. Imagine for a moment that the only 2 couples that showed up were the ones that you were going to do business with. So you had 4 people at your seminar. You've done these. They're extremely painful. So when I have a full room of Hollywood extras, what happens? My room's filled with energy, people clapping, noise, and all that. And those 2 clients get to be anonymous in there. And they get to enjoy all the information. You get the opportunity to speak to them in their anonymity with your Hollywood extras around, okay? So I say all day long, I'm going to pay $50, $75, maybe even $100 a plate to fill that room with my Hollywood extras.
And Mark, here's the crazy part. By trying to remove those people, it doesn't really save any money. You do events at Fleming's and Ruth's Chris and these big national, they have food and beverage minimums. You're going to pay for the food regardless.
I know.
You might as well have a full room and benefit from that social dynamic of it actually being a social event where there's energy and there's, a bunch of fun going on. That's really what the dinner event is all about.
Jerry, I love preaching to the choir. You and I mean, if we became financial advisors tomorrow, if for some reason we did, we'd make a fortune in seminars. Fortune in seminars.
You know what's even crazier is the conversion funnel on educational workshops at a library. It doesn't change. The averages are the same as a dinner seminar, going from the attendees to appointments to clients. So what do you call the people that didn't move forward in the library? Are they information lickers?
They are information lickers. That's what they are. How dare they show up for just the information? How dare they? I'll go one step further, and nobody likes to hear it, but you got a room full of people and you don't convert. That is not a problem with the targeted direct mail or the data. That is a much deeper look in the mirror to say, yo, that baby ugly.
Or it could be the consumer where they're at in their process, right? Sometimes the consumer's just figuring out that they have some sort of problem and they're not ready to sit down with the advisor. I know that's what the advisor wants, but that's not necessarily what the audience wants. So you just need to be in front of it. And Mark, I know you're a big proponent of database marketing. Part of seminars is building your database to be in front of that consumer when the time is right.
And Jerry, we see that time and time again. What is the name of the program where we do an after campaign to them to get them back?
Database Reconnect.
Database Reconnect. We love it. And we've had extraordinary results, in particular with bigger clients that have a ton of data. Jerry, I know 2 out of the top of my head where we got 20 plus appointments from one mailer, no dinner, they had attended before. Another one got 30 plus, targeted direct mail, no dinner, because they had attended before. So it's part of an overall larger strategy, larger plan. This is what you're going to learn about in this marketing mastery event at Leading Response. Jerry, I get pumped up, man. I get pumped up. And everyone who leaves there is pumped up because they're filled with, where has this information been? But unless you're going to sit down for a day and a half and take it in like a class, like a college class, okay, because that's essentially what this is. Okay, it's not 2 2-hour nights. It's a day and a half of all the great marketing data, marketing stats necessary for you and your company not to survive, to thrive and excel. Year after year after year, once you have those data-driven best practices and you implement and you execute, you laugh all the way to the bank. All the way to the bank. It's a wheelbarrow, Jerry, filled with checks.
Come with an open
Filled
mind.
with checks.
Come with an open mind and be ready to learn. And it's uncanny. Everyone that's attended, that's come in and put this into action from the prior marketing summits, they've grown. Some of them have doubled. And in fact, I think you've worked with some that eclipsed the $100 million.
$100 million.
In a year.
Yep.
In a year.
So I'm going to talk about, first of all, I'm honored that I've been asked to speak at this event. And the crux of what I'm going to talk about, I have 5 speaking slots. 3 of those will be dedicated exclusively to seminars, okay? What I call my pregame, game day, postgame. Pregame is all about filling chairs with the maximum amount of qualified prospects. This is a process that I don't think is taken into account enough with the advisor. They just place an order, okay, but they don't really get deep into who am I looking for and how do I get them to my event. So that's piece 1. Piece 2 is game day. Brother, that's where we make our money. We drive for show and we putt for dough. Money is made on game day. What is game day? Everything that takes place from the time that prospect gets out of their car till the time they leave the venue, everything we do in there is designed for one singular purpose: to capture an appointment and put it on the books that night. When done properly, I have plenty of advisors, Jerry. 50% plus of the buying units in the room are signed up that night. That is not an accident. That is a absolutely proprietary process that I'm going to share with everyone. It's a funnel sale that comes down to this little box at the bottom that says it's counterintuitive to say no to the advisor. We've set it up in such a manner that if they develop trust and rapport and credibility in the beginning, it all funnels down to, I'm going to say yes to the appointment.
You mentioned the Track That Advisor study. I saw that same study. And if you look at it carefully, 25%, more than 25% of all appointments for those advisors came from live events.
Yeah.
25%.
Of all the appointments.
Of all of their appointments.
Yeah. Incredible. And let me take that study one step further. It's actually higher because if you take into account what that advisor did from their database, meaning existing client dollars, if you take that out because it was like 54 or 50%, then it's half. Half of all the leads that come into an advisory firm, new business, new blood, are from live events. Half.
And you could say that if a firm is doing seminars and doing them well, they've probably been doing them for a number of years. And some of those client appointments, actually, if you track it back, was from seminars 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah. That's a whole other conversation. And we're going to get into that because I think some people They may not understand that. They're like, well, they didn't come one time. They're blackballed forever. No, 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 no. No, no. We'll talk about that another time. So the last piece of our Seminar Mastery Blueprint is the post game, which is if they sign up, they need to show up. What are all the touch points that we're going to do from literally the night of the event to the time they show up in the office? And I always wrap up by saying this, Jerry. If you can get all 3 of these engines firing on 8 cylinders, listen to me so I'm clear. You can double your production with the same budget and the same amount of events, because we're going to raise all your KPIs in such a manner that you do double, and in some case more. I know that's like tough for people. I'm doing such a good job. It doesn't require a lot of movement. Okay? If we can get the amount of seats filled, the amount of appointments you get, and the amount of people that show up, nominally, double your production.
What's crazy is we talk with advisors on a daily basis, and we go through an exercise where we help them figure out how much they can grow just by filling their empty calendar slots. The average is $15 million in new assets by changing nothing in their business operations other than having appointments in those empty calendar slots. $15 million.
We're going to discuss all this, Jerry. I think people are going to be shocked when because listen, Bill Parcells used to say the scoreboard doesn't lie. When you look at the data, and by the way, I think it's absolutely crucial for advisors to see what their colleagues are doing around the country in the form of aggregates and national averages of data. Once you see that, here's another thing that's really important. Once you see the national averages, you can say, where am I against my peer group? But when you see that, if you're below that, I think it creates the belief system that I can get there. Okay?
It's the 4-minute mile.
I can get there. The 4-minute mile, Jerry. That's exactly what it is. Once he broke it, what's his name? Trivia question of the day, Dr. something. Once he broke it, it just felt like
It's like 3 or
like
4
a sack
people
of potatoes,
Yeah.
right? Okay, so I'm going to do that. The next thing, I'm going to talk about Greg Ryan because he's another guest. He's not a guest. He's part of Leading Response. Tell me about Greg Ryan. What's his title and what's he's going to be talking about?
So he's our Chief Revenue Officer, and he comes from a digital background, worked with Gannett Media and some other companies. He is going to be covering how to really build trust, because it is an online environment. Just because you're using direct mail to promote your seminar doesn't mean that your consumer isn't going to go online and look you up before they register. So you need to have a web presence, and not just any web presence, but a solid one. So Greg's going to talk about some of the things that you can do as a firm to really set yourself up and have not just an online brand, but one that wins.
I am really looking forward to that. I met him before, and it's great stuff. Okay, I'm really excited about this part, Jerry. I'm going to be doing a live seminar at the event. You've been several times.
I have.
You've seen our seminar. You've actually spoken at our seminars. And what I'm going to do is a piece-by-piece breakdown of how you open, what you do in the beginning, how you bring it all the way through, how you utilize your seminar materials, how you take it all the way to a strong closing. 4 things that we're going to talk about, right? 4 pieces. So that at the end, and it really breaks down to 4 pieces. You get all 4 of these right, you will get more appointments, period, end of story. And I'm going to be in and out of character. I'm going to take questions so that everybody there can see, okay. And by the way, I think this is really important to note. 2 things. One is everything that I'm going to be doing, I've taken from other advisor seminars, the great ones out there. And Jerry, there are advisors doing 50 plus million from their seminars alone. 50 million of assets, new assets gathered. That's insurance, that's life insurance, that's AUM from their seminars alone. Wouldn't you like to know what they're doing? Wouldn't you like to see that in action so you can take notes, so that you can replicate exactly that? Listen, we're not here to reinvent the wheel. And the second part is when we talk about teaching advisors, it isn't, well, you should do this and you should do that. My brother, we eat our own cooking. I'm going to do what we tell you to do. Jerry, I'm walking the walk and I'm talking the talk, and I'm walking the walk and I'm talking the talk.
I would say, no, I know we're having a conversation, but for our audience out there, this is going to be probably the best and most valuable piece of the entire marketing summit is actually seeing someone who does seminars to promote their business, do a live seminar in action, and not just do it, but break it down step by step by step on what is working and what isn't.
Yeah. And why? Why did you do that? Why did you do that piece? What does that represent? What does that mean? What is the psychology behind that makes that effective for getting the appointment at the end of the night? Okay, I know you have another slot, so you're talking about seminar success, the psychology of choice. I love that.
If you don't understand who you're working with or what motivates them or how to influence their decision, you're going to struggle. And too often advisors focus on what they want and not on what their audience needs or wants. And it becomes a little bit complicated when you have a married couple because what he wants might differ from what she wants. And you have to navigate that carefully in order to get through. And that's the beauty of seminars, live events, and promotion. You can get out there and you can tell your story one to many, and you're almost matchmaking based on how they interact with you and like you. And we're going to break down Dr. Robert Cialdini's principles.
Such a great book.
It is an amazing, he's got a ton of them. There's a lot of different.
The Psychology of Influence. That's the one that I know of.
It is. It's his first major book, I believe. And he is the godfather of psychology. I mean, he has done so much research and there's so many stats, and we're going to cover a lot of that at the summit. We're going to break down the principles and how you can incorporate them as an advisor into not just your seminars, but into your business.
Jerry, I'm buying those books and I'm giving one to everyone who shows up. And there's another book that I want to have that I'm going to have there as well, and I'm going to give it away. It is from Donald Miller, Building a Story Brand.
Such a great book.
These two books alone, they're transformative, okay? I'm not a big reader. I don't have like 5 books that I'm reading at any given time, but those 2 books I could not put down. I can't remember the last time I dog-eared and highlighted so much of these books. It is mastering genius, those 2 books.
And they're both on Audible as well, because that's my preferred channel.
Oh, yeah. I got to start doing that.
They both read them themselves, which is so much better than.
Love that. I love that. All right. The next thing that we have on here is, we're going to have dinner from Maggiano's delivered in. So with the dinner seminar, which people ask, like, what are you serving? Which I always thought was kind of interesting. What kind of food is happening here? So it will, you'll do your own breakfast at the hotel. You'll come in, we'll have lunch and dinner. And then the next day we do lunch, and then everyone goes on their merry way. I'm also, Jerry, going to be talking about dominating your market with television, radio, and podcasting. So hot, so important. And the reason I'm picking this topic is the 1-2 punch with seminars. When you're doing television and you're out there in commercials, and then an envelope shows up in the mailbox that looks like your commercial, I'm telling you right now, Jerry, it's maybe the best 1-2 punch out there for filling your rooms.
It's brand consistency too. If you're in TV.
I'm writing that down. Brand consistency. I'm writing that down.
Write it down. If you're on TV and on a radio, and then your web presence also has the same look and feel, and then your marketing, it all ties together and it influences, all of the channels influence the results for your marketing that you're doing to produce revenue and doing to produce results.
You know, we're going to talk about a lot more topics, but I'm going to wrap right there. I thank you for coming out today, because you and we could talk about this forever and ever and ever. So I'm going to wrap up by telling everyone, hey, today's episode of Marketing Mastery Podcast, I hope you enjoyed it. Jerry and I, this great event that's happening December 10, 11, and 12. On the screen, I probably should have said it before. There's a phone number to call to register. Okay, there's a website that you could go to also register. I think the one piece I left out is it's $995, but we're axing it, Jerry.
We're giving it away.
First 50, no charge, no cost. Get yourself to Tampa. Get yourself a hotel. This is going to be an incredible informational event for the ages, Jerry. For the ages. Listen, we've done it for years. We got such positive feedback. Why has it taken us this long? I don't know. But it's back, baby. The summits at Leading Response. Marketing Mastery Summit, by the way. So listen, I hope you leave more equipped, more encouraged, and more empowered to build a practice that reflects excellence and honors your calling. At MEG and Leading Response, we believe your business can be a beacon that leads with purpose, serves with heart, and grows with intention. Until next time, keep showing up boldly, serve your clients faithfully, and never forget that the gifts God placed in you were meant to multiply. Stay sharp, stay faithful, and as always, keep mastering your marketing. God bless.
You've been tuning in to the Advisor Marketing Mastery Podcast with Mark E. Gaffney. Until next time, command attention, own your narrative, and market with distinction.